Hey, my name is Nicole, Appetite for Change Community Cook Manager. Tonight we have Miss Jackson and her daughter, Thandisizwe, in the house. We'll be getting to know them, community members from North Minneapolis, so they'll be sharing their stories and whatever else gems they'll want to share with us tonight here. So by that, if Miss Jackson, you can introduce yourself.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for having us,
Thank you
and
for
thank
coming.
you for doing this. It's valuable for the community. I am an elder community servant, and I'm also the Lifetime National Ms. Kwanzaa. Come on.
Hello, I'm Thandisizwe. I am a vegan chef. I have a business called Vegan by Nature, where we focus on culinary experiences with only plant-based food, and we also teach people about health and wellness, which is the education part of it. Longtime Northsider and vegan.
So yeah, Miss Jackson, if you could tell us about you, a little history about you or whatnot.
Well, first and foremost, I am an Army brat, the eldest of 8 children all over the country. And what brought me here was I was one of the first Black stewardesses for Northwest Airlines, and immediately saw that although Minnesota nice is Minnesota nice, and they speak to the quality of life still is not part of our regular everyday life. Oh, and I'm also
Come
in
on.
my 7th week of culinary school.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, yes. They interviewed me. They said, "Why do you want to do this?" And I said, "Well, with a certification, I'll be more valuable to Thandisizwe and Vegan by Nature. And two, as I am in my golden years, it also gives me options so that I can work with you for this catering event this week and work with her for her catering event next week. And so that, too many of our elders are at Mickey D's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And so that was why I was there. And I have learned a ton. Oh my gosh. Made my first omelet.
Okay.
Come on.
Yes. So that's a small slice of me.
Okay, you want to share you?
And what was the question again?
Just little upbringing.
Well, here on North Side, right down the street, 3 blocks up on 16th and Fremont. My mom owned the house there, so I'm a North Sider for real, for real. And yeah, I mean, just community. I think something. And bless her heart, she's so cute and she's so sweet. We talk a lot, and we're really close. And every day, we do talk every day for the most part. Lately, we've been talking about just like being humble and modest, and I feel like she's being a little humble right now. But like growing up with her as my parent, it was all about community. So some of the guests that you had on the show, we know them. We were here that day and at the Kwanzaa church here, and learning those stories from events like that. So growing up, it's really just this it takes a village to raise a child concept, like for me as a young person, and then like now that I'm an adult, I'm doing it with young people, still a part of the village, but like in a different capacity. So like as an adult looking back, like Minneapolis isn't Chicago, it's not Atlanta, it's not LA, but there's definitely a sense of community here. And on the north side growing up, it was very like there and in my face, and I feel like it shaped that, and like really shaped like my perspective of the world today.
As a matter of fact, I was on the picket line, if you will, at Planned Parenthood 2 weeks before she was born. And so that whole thing of doing the right thing and recognizing that we all stand here on the backs of the blacks and the ancestors.
Okay. So you being an Army brat, for those that don't know what that is, can you
Actually, I finally, just a couple of months ago, saw what does that really stand for. Now I can't remember what they said. But it came as a result of, especially lifers like my father was, that's what they dubbed, and it was an expression of love in terms, and we knew that wherever we went all over the world, we automatically came into that level of community because we were all armed rats. Okay. And there might have been just two of us at the school, but we immediately hooked up just because of the togetherness of the armed forces.
so growing up for you as having a parent in the Army, how was that like going to school, changing schools, friends, like how were you able to adjust with so much movement as a child?
As a matter of fact, I transferred twice in my senior year in high school. And for me, I don't think that it fazed me in a negative way, because I was just thinking about my older brother. And it really left a negative mark on him, because we were all over the place all the time.
Me younger.
Yeah, that's right. He's the oldest boy in each other. Yes.
Okay.
But I think that's where I got my sense of adventure from, because we were all over the place, and wherever we went, it's kind of like we had to start all over, although it might have been someone that you interacted with in the previous days. For example, some years ago, long before her arrival, I heard this Jolene. I was like, okay, that's somebody from way back. And come to find out, it was one of the young women who were in high school together at Fort Eustis, Virginia. And at this point, she was at the University of Minnesota. And so those are the connections. But I definitely think the sense of travel, the sense of adventure, I think that's where it all came from.
Did you get to experience traveling a lot?
Yeah, I was just thinking when she was talking, because we had, which I don't really think about, like we had totally different.
Yes.
I mean, there was some similarities that village. It takes a village to raise a child. In the Afrocentricity in a different way. Like you taught me to be proud of who I was and where I came from, and you all got it almost from being in the South, and more of a family sense. But yeah, like we would stay Northside, and we loved the community, but then we would also find these communities outside of not only Minneapolis but Minnesota, of different, not just skin folk, but women. Like when you took me to China when I was 4 for the International Women's Conference, and artists of all colors. So she kind of taught me how to find my tribe wherever I was, and then also too, there were a lot of super dope groups here in Minnesota, like Imhotep Science Academy with Brother Honor and Sister Raquette, where we were children. We were here in Minnesota learning about how to be little scientists, and then we would go and find other like-minded people. We would go to Philadelphia, and I'm like, oh, she got her hair wrapped too. She got the kente cloth. So that showed me that it's like there's people like you, not just here on the North Side, but everywhere. You just gotta find your tribe. So that was always really good too.
And she also had and has the unique experience of a 3-parent team. So that me, the ultimate queen, and her dad, that named her, and then her father, who came into our life when she was 18 months old. And so she's had that uniqueness too. And it's interesting from a political perspective. Because we were taking her to the polls whenever we left. And initially, following her mother and father, it was the DFL, where she was the youngest delegate for Obama in 2008 North Carolina. And as she read those platforms, she said, you know what? Ain't neither one of them doing nothing for us. So she switched to the Green Party. And there were people in the community that were beating up on me. They said, why would you let her do that? I said, didn't let her do anything. We taught her to critically think. And so therefore, she has decided that she's taking another route. And bless her heart.
Right, her choice.
Not bless my heart.
Bless your heart. Yes.
We've been saying that about people doing wrong stuff lately. So it's like, honey, don't try to.
Oh,
don't
so
throw
that
that in
was
there.
just me.
Bless her heart. Like, okay.
Oh, okay. So growing up for you, right? Like, how was it going to school?
Well, I'm the child of sharecropping parents. My father left Alabama before they lynched him, and his only way out was the Army. My mother decided, well, I should go on and marry him, because at this juncture, she tells me how.
Oh, I'm just like, you almost doing, like, I thought you almost said they lynched them, but you said before.
Before they did. Yeah.
Okay.
No, before they did. And Mama, my grandmother, her great-grandmother, was a force to be reckoned with. I mean, from running numbers to liquor, etc.
Okay.
And so that meant that there were a lot of people in this house all the time. And after the third time of my mother waking up and a man standing over her bed, she said, it's time for me to go too.
Okay.
So then she finally decided to say yes to my father, and they got up out of Dodge.
Okay.
But every year, every time we changed camps, it was important for them, no matter how what's the word? No matter how negative it was down south, it was important for them to take us down south before every time that we would transfer to another base. Because I remember my father, we were somewhere, and I went up to the white water fountain. And next thing I know, he's got me the scruff and said, no, you can't drink there. And I said, well, why? He said, just go to the colored water fountain. And I was like, wow. You know, but it was important for them to deal with our reality. And my father only got his high school diploma. I don't know if it was GEDs back then, because Eisenhower said, if you're going to serve in the Army, you have to be a high school graduate. So that's how my father finished school. My mother went as far as the 5th grade. But she was definitely self-taught. I mean, she ran the house. My father was the working person, because even outside of the fighting the white man's war, he always had other jobs to make ends meet.
Well, so I guess if you could speak on like your adulthood, like what made Minnesota home to you and things like that. I know you said that you travel a lot, so you got to see the world, right? You got to pick. Like I ain't get to pick. I'm born and raised here, right? So this was my option, but you had the option to view. What made Minnesota home to you?
I was reading a 17 magazine one day. I'm not sure where I got it from, but this is when we were at Fort Dix, New Jersey, which was my father's last deployment. And I came across this ad that talked about airline school. And I thought, oh, I didn't know what a Minnesota was. But I thought, well, let me go. And I had my, I don't know if I should admit this, but nevertheless, I was always, no, it wasn't always, but at that point, somehow, and I don't know if I was attracted to him or he was attracted to me or both, but my sugar daddy. and then I had my young buck, you know, who there was no intimacy.
So when you put the ages together, they became your age, right? You had somebody older, somebody younger.
But he was just, we would party together. We'd leave Jersey at 1 o'clock when everything closed and ride on up to New York, etc. And bless his heart, that's a good one. He said, you know, if this is something you want to do, I will get the airline ticket. I will give you enough to live off of for 3 months. And I said, sign me up.
Come on. Okay.
And that's how I got here.
Yes.
That's how I got here.
I forgot about that.
Did you like it when you arrived? In what city did you come? Did you come to
Minneapolis, right to Minneapolis. I'm not sure. At that point, I was so enamored about this glorified waitress job that that was what was driving me. And it was interesting in terms of my mindset, because as I was in and out of different airports, the Panthers were there, toting their guns, et cetera, And at that point in my life, I thought, oh, well, they might be wanting to kill me too. And especially when I was in uniform and they knew Northwest Airlines and corporate, et cetera, et cetera. Needless to say, I've come a long way since then. And after the fact, I probably would have dealt with that differently. But at 20, and this glorified waitress job, I just thought I had arrived. I did, you know. But, you know, when you talk about Minnesota, this is where I came into my blackness.
Come on.
This is where I came into my blackness. First, all of the, because at that point there were 10 of us, and we had a little clique. But all of a sudden, someone said, "Oh, the Miss Black Minnesota pageant." So at that point, I don't know that I ever even thought about pageantry, but I thought, well, everybody else doing it, so sign me up. And Sharon Sells Belton was our first Miss Black Minnesota.
Oh, she was?
She was. As a result of one of the stewardesses from Detroit, who actually won the title. But then she got homesick and said, I'm out of here. Too many white folks. And so then that's how Karen became our first Miss Black Minnesota pageant. Then, all of a sudden, everybody was talking about the University of Minnesota. My parents were just thrilled that I got a high school diploma. So I never even thought about next steps up. But there was only one way that I could go in, and that was through General College, which doesn't exist anymore. But I had two professors, Vernell Correct, rest of soul, that's a good one, and Toyce Kyle. Vernell Correct, and both of them saw in me what I hadn't seen in myself. So Vernell said, I want you to be my TA, and I'm also going to teach you how to write. Toyce said the same thing, and she opened up this whole world of blackness. My gosh, what have I been missing all my life? Really?
I just imagine her with her backpack on like Dora. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that was one of the best things, you know, and it was like, yeah, I thought I died and gone to heaven. Yeah. So that's another little slice of my background. Come on.
Good.
And then from there, everybody started talking about the arts. I'd not had that experience or exposure either. And there was the one dance studio in town that would allow black dancers in her studio, Karen Glover. Bless her heart. That's a good one too. And then it was like, oh, well, I'm going to have a double major, so one of those majors should dance.
Come on.
And so as a result of that, most of my training has been ballet, but I did ballet, African, jazz, modern. And then we got an opportunity to go to Africa to study dance at the University of Accra.
For free?
Someone raised the money.
It was for free.
Yeah. And again, on my own as an adult, to be, you know, on the continent was like, you know, and I don't know if you've been there, but there's a whole, the Elmina Castle, which was one of the major ports of where the slaves were then transferred to.
I hear about
Yeah.
that a lot.
And it was like the walls were talking to you. And all of a sudden I'm just sobbing.
Yeah.
But again, it was another experience.
I know a lot of people say it get real emotional going to the wall of the doors of no returns.
Yeah.
And it's like you could just feel the ancestors and everything and just whole different level of.
But we were clear we didn't want to stay where they wanted us to stay because we wanted a real experience. So we actually stayed in there was a little town called Medina. And I remember being up one morning because they get up when the rooster crows. And there was this woman literally running down the hill with a pail of water on her head.
Come on.
Never missed a beat.
Hello.
I said, look at you.
How she balanced it.
Yeah. But it's part of their way of life, though, you know? So, and since then, it's added to my sense of adventure. I mean, when I went to Vienna for the last planning for the Beijing, it was important for me to get there. Vienna, Austria, across the pond. I had no place to stay, but I put it in God's hands. And so fortunately I was wearing linen, so that wrinkles anyway, and then wash it up in the sink and for 2 days. And then this older black woman, she said, so who is this crazy Minnesotan that doesn't have a place to stay? I said, I guess that would be me. And so she said, well, I have an extra bed. So I wound up in her hotel, 5-star hotel, gold ornaments. And then she took over everything. She was feeding me and everything. And that's one of my regrets. I regret that I didn't stay in touch with her. She was
Definitely should have stayed in touch.
Right. And she worked for the government, and she was at the top. So,
Come on.
and I don't know why I didn't take you with me.
Because that was before Beijing.
Yeah, that was our last planning meeting, and it was Arvon Frazier that was married to Don Frazier, one of our Minneapolis mayors. Gloria Steinem. She has pictures with who's the lady that always wears the hats? I mean, you just had all of these historical people there, you know, in touch. And then we found out that Hillary Clinton was coming. And
To
so,
Austria?
no,
To Beijing.
to Beijing. I switched. I got to Beijing. The other thing that I did.
Were you taller than the people in Beijing? Are they short?
I am, but it was interesting. They gravitated to her. They'd never seen a black child. And so she was taking more pictures than everybody. you know. But Hillary Clinton came, we found out late, so I grabbed all of because we had several mother-daughter teams that I specifically organized as part of the 250-woman delegation from Minnesota. And so we stood, it must have been 2 or 3 hours, got to the door, and they said, there are no more seats. I turned to my littles and I said, don't worry, the next time she's in Minnesota, we'll go see her. 2 months later, she was in Minnesota. So we were the first ones in. You remember that, don't? Yeah, we were the first ones in. Took pictures. She was over at the bookstore over by McAllister. But those are the kinds of things where, and not that I've gotten everything I wanted, but I always think that there'll be another time.
Yeah,
there'll be another time.
With all these names you be throwing up here, what inspired you to do the work you do? You know, connect with the people you connect. Like what inspired you to be like, oh, I want to be a part of this or be involved in this? Because, you know, there's so many different career paths and so much more to do. But, like, what made you to do the work that you did?
This is my greatest accomplishment. And even though she was a surprise, and I thought, who is this little thing messing up my life? I can't do nothing without thinking about, well, what am I going to do with her? But even though that's the way I was feeling, I decided that she will get her first 18 years. Now, when I went to apply for Social Security, I said, maybe I might want to rethink that. I had to think about that for a minute.
I think you are, I don't know, super, super unique. And I know I'm biased, but I really love not just the passion for life, and just wanting to learn, but also like being able to say, hey, I don't know everything, right? Hey, you know, I'm sorry. Like you were always down to apologize to me, where some people's parents are like, I ain't apologizing to no kid. It's like, one of you did forget to pack the lunch. Like you should be apologizing, you know? So I think that you've been blessed, not only because of what you've done for others. You know, she has like all these community, people think I got all these sisters. And they're my sisters, but you know, like, they're my sisters, you know, but I'm her only child here. So it's
It kicked my butt for 9 months.
that part. I feel like, but yeah, no, I think that you've gotten a lot of blessings from that, you know, just from what you put out. But you know, you say it as a sense of adventure, but when I think about some of the dopest people that we love, you know, Malcolm X, you know, just that always evolving, you know, you're like a little butterfly, you know, and it's not because you're lost or because you don't know what you love and what you want to do. It's because you know that there's more out there. Like you'll never know it all. So, I mean, for me, you know, that's who I'm becoming, and that's what I aspire to be. And it's just really dope to see someone at your age, and that's why all the young people rock with you, because you have this open mind, even with all of the knowledge that you have and all the things that you've done. Even though me and you talk about it, and I'm like, okay, Mom, you don't have to like tell them that I'm a poet and let's be modest, but
Is that not what mothers do?
you're actually pretty humble, like in the fact that like we can kick it in the hood, and then, you know, when it's time to fly here, you can fly there, you can speak to this person, but like, you know what I'm saying, you can rock with everybody, and that's a unique trait to have, and I think that it's blessed you, and I think that it also like will continue to lead.
I ain't even gonna ask who inspired you, Mama.
Mom Dukes, but also too, like she said, I have 3 parents, so and just this is great conversation, because just as you were talking, like the wheels have been going in my head. You came here, and if you wouldn't have came here, you know, you wouldn't have met my dad, who was born and raised here in St. Paul. My dad, Christopher Nissen. So you got these 3 parents. And sometimes I say that people be like, okay, who's gay? It's like, okay, no one's gay.
I thought it was actually a grandparent, you know, because it'd be like the mom, the dad, then the parent, the grandparent.
3 actual parents, because she met my father when I was around 1 year old. So her and my dad, you know, they had me. They didn't work out. She met my father, and then there was like this collaboration, you know, and it was just, I mean, even just thinking about it, so cool, because you got her Afrocentric, you know, down for the cause, Miss Black Minnesota director, all about community. Then you got my dad, Afrocentric, but like revolutionary, like Malcolm X, you know, little Rosa Parks, little Malcolm X. bags. Then you got my father, he's a Tuskegee Airman. I mean, he's not but he's a scientist or George Washington Carver, Afrocentric too. So it was this like blended family. And even just when I think about myself, it's like these little parts of me from everywhere, well, from you three. And, I don't know. I think that's super cool. The Northside too, some heavy hitters. Mel Reeves, rest in peace. Bill Cotman, rest in peace. I mean, there are some legends walking these streets where they walk into Sammy's or they walk into here and remember when the Bean scene, they walk in and, you might not even know who they is, but they don't put in work. And to have that surrounding you, where you see things that you like sometimes from the elderly, you see things that we don't like and we're like, okay, I don't want to be like that. But I rock with you still. It's just, I don't know. You can't put a price on that. It's very valuable. And as an adult, I'm just seeing that, really, really appreciating that even more now,
And she's a community child. I was very clear at 42. I didn't have all the answers. I sure had one or two more than these 11, 12-year-old girls that I've had to deal with. So, but they knew that if she got out of place, get her. And when she got home, we will get her again. And so, but I think that's important. And I think that's how you really, because a lot of times people talk about the village, but it's also the capacity of the village. So, yeah, so that's, and then that sense of adventure, because we traveled when she was 6 months old. South Africa. You tell about South Africa.
Well, I was just thinking when you were talking about that sense of adventure, I feel like I thought it was because I was a Sagittarius. Everybody talks about my fire sign, being a Sag. But I feel like you taught me a lot of that stuff, because I got similar stories, going somewhere without a place to stay, going somewhere when people told you that you shouldn't go.
And one of those was when she was doing the New York Fashion Week, because she always has to formulate what's the cheapest route. And what she wound up with was taking the megabus to Chicago. We did some research, and that bus gets off. It's kind of like Skid Row, and then walking to the train.
It's not like Skid Row,
but that's what we had been told. And then walking to the train to get to the airport in Chicago to then get to New York.
Yeah, you was determined.
I was scared then because we had heard all of it. It was like, oh my gosh. But she said, no, this is, and I'm lacking some money, but I want to do this, and she did. Come on, she sure did.
Was you in a fashion show or you was going to see fashion?
Is this the one like 5 years ago? 4 or 5 years?
Oh, okay. When you were in the fashion show.
Yeah, they wanted some plus size models. And my family, where they ended up that last base that my grandpa was in Jersey. So most of my uncles and aunts are in Jersey. And then my aunt, who also is like a big part of the community as far as our village, she's in New York. So it's like one of them places, a little open door policy. Okay. She would, if she was here, she would say something smart right now. But it's an open door policy. So
she's the only one of the generation that actually has a key to these places.
Oh, like, so, people feel some kind of way, But
the truth be the light.
Yeah, no, and I think too is when we talk about community, that's one of the things that we do when we don't have sometimes all the resources. Like, okay, who stays there? Okay, your cousins and them they in Chicago, so we're gonna send you. And that's a piece of the village too, where it's like we don't always have what we need. Sometimes it's not, the number that wanted to be at, but we pull that weight to try to, get done what needs to be done.
Because I wound up, we started a organization called Youth Leaders International. And then we were the inner city component.
The poorest team of everybody.
Yeah. And I was working before they put up this there was a school back there. And it was for preteens and teen parents.
Before that was an elementary school. I went there.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
Broadway.
Okay. Before that's
so after Broadway school, it kind of left, and then it became like a alternative school for pregnant moms or whatever. So that was different from when it was like a K through 8th grade. And
did
then
you know that?
I did
before the pregnancy school.
I did not. I did not.
It was called Broadway too?
It was Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah. I stayed right. Look, my mom owned the house right here on 22nd in Fremont. So when that school came there, of course we went there. I was like, man, why we can't ride the bus? Somebody want to walk to school. I still was late. Yeah.
And one day I got some communique about Youth Leaders International. It was not intended for me to get, but I immediately thought, okay, we need a team. Our young people need to be exposed to that too. And you had to have at least 6 young people. And so another woman that I was working with, I went to her, and it couldn't be a parent that orchestrated. I said, this is what we got, just really cool. Miss Mosier. And so we figured it out. 2 of the 6 were our children, but we had the 6. So we went to Washington the first year. The second year, and then come to find out.
What was this group?
Youth Leaders International. But it was YLI Youth Leaders. Yeah. And come to find out, her son was losing his mind, and his grades were not up to par. And so she said, it's not going to work for Charlie. She said, but I'll still go.
Not dropping names. It's like, okay.
Well, there are a lot of Charlies. But she said, I'm still in it. And she then literally took them to France and some other places. And then, because it was a 3-year program. And then her life got really, really crazy. And so she said, what are we to do? I said, hey, I'm taking them to the UK. We were in London the day of the 2005 bombings.
But it was because she asked like what it was.
I'm like, this program sounds like really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like a youth leadership development program. So there was youth from all around the world, and like there was a group from South Africa. One of them was like the princess of one of the I don't know.
Does it still exist? Does this group still
do
exist?
this?
I think so.
I'm talking about in here, you.
No, because she was at the helm, and so she's kind of grown up.
Well, we graduated. It was
we
graduated.
graduated.
We graduated, and then we stayed in contact, our little group, but it was just like a like a little Boy Scout. It was I don't know how to describe it, but all about like developing leaders.
And they actually presented their career research papers at Oxford University. Who gets that opportunity?
I think the opportunity need to come back.
Come on.
I'm like, how we get that back?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. But you also asked why I do what I do. Michael Chaney, visionary though he be, I think he's rubbed off on me. And I've just had this sense, and it started with dance. Because once I got in it, then it's like, well, where are Black dancers? And especially the children. Because I put together the program at Ruth Hawkins Program Center and North Commons. And then I would take them to events. And they would say, well, Miss Jackson, why should we think about that when there are no Black dancers on the stage? And so then I started saying, not only did I take them to the events, but I took them backstage. And every now and then, there was a light bright, but we couldn't tell from the rappers. And we were
Right.
And the government really was supporting arts then, because then we came up with another event where I had everything from seamstresses, Doris, Raymond's ex, was a seamstress, and talk about creativity. We had a lot of money, but we didn't have enough money to pay everyone separately. So I built this trust within this group, and I said, okay, your name's on the check, but we'll split it when it gets to you. And it actually worked. Can you imagine that? That wouldn't happen today. If you got the check, you was out of Dodge.
I'll split it because I won't be able to sleep right.
I'm just making.
I know. Yeah.
So and so then from there we did city Celestial Moves, University of Minnesota. So and with the Miss Black Minnesota pageant, no matter what people think about pageants, it is the deepest pot of money for women for higher education. I'm talking about the big dogs. Universe, USA, America. And so when I took the helm of the Miss Black Minnesota pageant, I said, it's got to be more than this beauty thing. And so then that's when I developed a 9-month program that the young women went through. And then we had the care of they might become Miss Black Minnesota. We were going to get some real stuff in them. And they actually met weekly. And the highest point percentage was participation based on the workshops you got to, what time you got there, and what time you left. Because our young women should have the same opportunity. And someone asked me if I would resurrect that again. And I said, well, I certainly won't do it for free again.
Cut that check.
Right.
Yeah, that's 15 years. Talk about love for the community. Never got one thin dime. And we did it so well, people just knew we were getting paid. But I knew how to bargain. I remember Don Shelby, Channel 4, WCCO. We wanted him to be a judge. And he said, when I first looked at it, I thought, it's just another beauty pageant. But he looked further, and once we got him in, like, for example, WCCO used to have a print shop in the basement.
Mhm.
They did all of our printing. Camps down the street, was part of the reception in terms of feeding folks. So, as a matter of fact, one of the folks that was on the contestant committee, I learned later that her husband said, I just knew you had a cult going, because every time you would call, my wife would jump up and run out the door. But that was the level of passion and dedication for these young women. And that's in Freedom School, baby. I helped bring the Freedom School to Minnesota. And she was too young at the time, but she became our little mascot.
I remember a little bit. The little trailers.
The trailer, yep. And so she went from there to teaching to something else to now she's one of the national trainers.
I was an elevator trainer.
Elevator trainer, excuse me.
I was, though. Like, I'm not in this.
Oh, I see. Okay. So I just thinking that no matter how messed up this world is, no matter how much white folks in the system hates us, and all of the stuff that goes with that, I've just decided that the bulk of my time will be spent with young folks. And I will give them whatever I can give to them. And she was saying that the young ones like me because I don't come in telling them it's my way or the highway or anything. I tell them once y'all finish consensus building, which I've done with her as well, then you let me know what to ask. George Floyd, I was out with him several hours later in the trenches. Her father wasn't happy, but he
got us little goggles. He was like, okay.
The mask.
He's like, here goes the first aid kit. It's also a fanny pack. It's like, okay.
But he was very, so he said if you got hit with one of those rubber bullets, you wouldn't go blind like some people did. And I knew if nothing else, my gray hair was a tipping point, maybe. But we had a couple of encounters because a lot of my boys now are up here, and they see the black skin, etc. And so we. So I just thought that it was,
Oh, you were saying temper from the? I thought you were talking about from the police. I can see the police now, like, okay, Grandma, you need to get on the ground too.
And when I found out I was pregnant, I said, God, don't give me a boy. Because I don't want that knock in the middle of the night. So he gave me a big headed girl. But she's had guns drawn on her. You can tell her about that.
Okay, you are trying to introduce.
You can share what you want.
Come on, I like that. Yeah, I mean, she is so funny right now. By the police, and just living on the north side. I feel safest on the north side. I don't care what's going on, especially after seeing Get Out. I was like, this confirms it. This is I'm going to be around people that look like me mostly, besides from the sense of community and just being familiar with it too. But, there was some great parts, but there were some rough times where we was at parties and the police came through and did what the police do,
Like that, Alicia.
Were they them underage parties?
Yeah, we used to juke.
Oh yeah,
okay. Juke. We used to get it in. My old best friend, who's like a forever sister for me.
Helena or Julia?
Helena. Her little sister was Alicia Neely, who got shot. I don't know if you remember that. But she got killed, and we were all leaving the party together. That could have been me. I was right there. On 35th and Humboldt.
Yeah.
In 2010. Yeah, what it was? Yeah, February. We had just graduated from high school. So, just those encounters, but something that my dad kind of always, and that's why it's like I'm a Northsider. I want to be here. This is where I want to buy a home. My dad always taught me that, like, okay, go to a party, somebody that looks like you, a young person that has the things that you have, same social economic status, they pull a gun on you or you get into a fight with them. Maybe they're wrong, but like this is why people do the things that they do, So he always taught me that. Now, no cop should be pulling a gun on a kid, an unarmed kid, at a party.
Right.
This is their job to protect and serve. So that really gave me an interest.
They protect and serve white money people.
Yeah, no, that's real. So that always gave me an interesting perspective, and that's one of the reasons why I always. It's like even the Facebook groups and stuff talking about how bad the North Side is and I done seen some things and all of that, but my heart has just always been here because this is where my people are, and I know that even when we don't act right, it's always more good than bad, and I know the root of all of these problems. and that's where we, try to work on illusions. I'm a vegan chef, so we don't eat the right things, so we be acting up because we got too much sugar on the brain. And
Can we hire her?
Huh?
Can we hire her? A community cook.
She's asking her to hire you. Y'all let me know if y'all like need some catering or something. I'll come through on the catering tip.
But having said that, we still were kind of protective. I remember your first homecoming game, and she said
I went to North High.
At North High, and she said, "Just drop me off down the street." And her father said, "I don't think so." And so we got as close as we could to the door, and she went in. And next thing she know, we volunteered to be in the
concession stand. At the concession stand.
Really?
And now I'm older, I'm like,
Really?
boundaries. Like they were crossing boundaries.
Wow, they didn't even tell you. You just were surprised. You
went to
would've
get
been
some
like-
nachos.
And they there, hey.
$2. Like, honey, take it out of your. You pay for the nachos.
But then there were other times with her and Helena, and I would find out where they were. More than one party. I went up in there and I said, "Let's go."
Who was snitching?
You remember the $2 parties?
Who
where
was
the
snitching?
that part, right? That was before
I think
Instagram
I
and
went,
stuff.
yeah, I went by the house, and whoever was at Helena's house told.
They on
I said,
35th. Like,
yep,
okay.
Yep. And I showed it. But what I did do too is,
So you probably should have a picture of your mom and had it on the door like, do not
Let her in.
but per my mindset, I said, Helena, we're going somewhere else. You want to come? And she did. So those are the kinds of things that I think parents should be brave
Take y'all to
enough.
Applebee's. Like, honey,
I don't think parents should be coming to kid parties.
Okay,
you know?
that
It'd
part.
be music. It'd be having a little fun
There was
smoke going
liquor.
on.
in this party.
It was salted
And there was
water.
other stuff in this party too.
I know the gray smoke.
Mm.
Yeah, I know, and it was music, and it was fried chicken in the back too.
Yeah, yeah.
That was sage, and it was fried
Yep,
chicken
there
in the
was some
back.
sage and
Okay.
holy water.
Yeah.
Holy water.
Yeah, because the mother of
And she was a sober walker. I know, right?
Yes,
you
I
know, you
was,
need a
yeah.
sober friend to
Yeah.
walk with you to everybody's crib.
Come on.
anywho, and the mother was at the door, and she said, "Who are you?"
The mother.
The mother was there, yeah. And I said, "I'm here to get my child," and I kept walking right on down.
Get your
to
big
the
no
basement.
permission. That mom we might have all
Now,
been
she
fighting
might-
because
yeah,
she might have.
She could have pulled something out, but she didn't.
She was getting the rent money. You was messing it up. All right. So in North Minneapolis, right, I always say that it's two sides, right?
Yes.
We have what I consider the village, right? And
Yes.
then we have the others, right? The ones who still need to be touched, brought in, and, you know, shown a little love because they don't know. Do you believe that? Like North Minneapolis have two parts, or is it just like one big circle? Because, you know, you talk to certain people, either one of you can answer and be like, oh, I hate North Minneapolis, or it's you shouldn't have your kids there, blah, 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 blah.
Now,
It's
these people
always
that
that.
live here?
Yeah, you know,
Oh,
people
okay.
that live here, you
Okay.
know, and you'll see, like, posting on Facebook. Then you'll see the other people like, well, I don't know what side you be on because I love North Minneapolis, right? My kids go to school here, I work here, I live here. And these are the people I interact with. Like, I don't know who you're around. Maybe you should change your circle of friends so you can see the other side. Like, but just like your views, your thoughts, your opinions, like, do you see it as two or you see it as one?
You know, we just went to see The Woman King on Tuesday. I know it was real late, but we're really big into movies, me, her, and my father. And I don't know why I thought about that when you were asking that question, because it's like, we are one. We are one. I mean, this is a community, but I just think over the years, the community has, the more things change, the more they say the same, whether you talk about present times or during the civil rights movement or during, you know, on the plantation or even back in Africa. There's always, it's like, you know, we know that we're one, but, you know, we got, like you said, the people that are a little more conscious, right? The people that's real conscious. The people like Sister Girl, you know, bless her heart,
Yes,
right?
bless her
Not in a good way, right? Bless her. That was just walking down here half naked,
That
right?
need a little more love,
That needs more love and is a product of the system, no matter what she's doing, no matter what she's doing wrong. That's a product of the system. And, you know, even in The Woman King, you know, you had the black people that was in a position of power, so they was doing, you know, deals with the devil. We got people in this community right now that's skin folk, you know, but ain't kin folk, you know what I'm saying? And then you had the warriors, you had the conscious people. you had the less, less aware people, if you will, that weren't as woke, and you didn't have drugs back then. That there wasn't that element of it. A lot of people feel like those got dropped on us as a community, Black people strategically, when they brought those drugs into our hood. So now it's very different. But I feel like you always had people that was doing the right thing, people that wasn't, people that knew, people that didn't. But we were all always that sense of community, no matter what. And I do think that our history brings us together. And then you have people that may not be skin folk, but we have a beautiful relationship with them as well too, that live right here on the north side, as far as allyship, that get it too. So it's just interesting. Like, things are so different. We got the telephones now, we got Instagram, but things are also the same in so many ways. So I don't know why I thought about that movie, but
yeah. And for me, I think I see it's a double-edged sword. As you were talking, I remember back when the young folks took over the 4th Precinct. And
when Jamar Clark was killed.
Yes, thank you. And some of our leaders, in the middle of the night, went downtown and met with the devils. And then the youth, they had taken a break because they'd been there all these hours and days. When they came back, everything had been locked down. Since then, I've said to these leaders, how soon you forget. 30, 40 years ago, you were those children. Give me a break. We're supposed to learn, and yes, it's cyclical, but why do we keep doing the same stuff over and over again? I think that's totally disgusting. But I did let my feelings for a couple of them, because
Ms. Jackson is the mother of the hood, right? The mother of the hood, right?
Come on. Okay, that's a new one.
I don't know about all of that.
I mean, you for him.
She said put Queen in there.
Right, Queen
of the hood.
Queen of the hood, okay. Queen of the hood.
But having said that, I grow real weary of another funeral as relates of, because I say the blue force is killing us and the black force is killing us. And these mothers, these grandmothers, these aunties, they know who's doing stuff. And so they're doing folks a disservice because it's, I ain't snitching. We need to figure out how to undo this snitching thing, because that's causing us grief as well. And even though I, like Thandisizwe, think of it as one, I try not to be judgmental when I encounter someone that says, I can't take it anymore. My children can't even go out and play. I'm getting up out of Dodge. So folks have to do that. And then the whole gentrification thing, Lord of mercy. Because even when I lost our house on Fremont, the bank wanted $240,000 from me. They took the house, only sold it to the white boy from Minnetonka for $40. What's wrong with that picture?
I lied.
What is wrong with that picture? But even if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I'd still be in North Minneapolis. No matter where I am, it's North Minneapolis.
But you know what, though, too? I think that's why I love what y'all are doing at Appetite for Change, and just how there's this health. I love grow food. I be banging those songs. Got produce. I just love that, because it's that is the piece of the puzzle that will help us elevate. Now, I don't know if we're going to get there. Sometimes I'm more optimistic, and sometimes I'm like, all y'all is crazy. I'm going to be by myself. I'm going to stick to myself, But most of the times I'm optimistic when it comes to the healing piece, because you were talking about the snitching code. People have different views on that. But, I think a lot of people feel like just the hypocrisy from the system. So you got a problem with Russia, then you can go buy him, but I got a problem with Ashley, and I can't go throw hands. That there's something wrong with that, right? So it's like I'm snitching, right? I'm snitching or telling the system who did something, and it's the system's problem why they out there doing things in the first place. Now, I don't want to carry that as a bag, like, they had us in slavery. I don't want to carry it as a bag everywhere I go, but that is the reality. Shorty that was just walking on the street, maybe high on something. When you go to I'm not scared. I go to Merwin's. If I need a glass of wine, I ain't going in that parking lot. You can get whatever you need as far as drugs. That is, the people in that parking lot are doing that because of the system. So when I just think of like solutions, and that's why I try to do what I do, the healing is going to be a lot. It's going to take some time. It's a constant journey, until you die, you will be healing, right? But that the food and the health and the wellness and the holistic piece, I think will really take us to a different level. And not that everybody has to be vegan. Like I said, I don't identify as a vegan. I'm plant-based. But just, knowing what kind of water to drink. People not drinking water. And talk about, I poop once a week. It's like, that's not healthy. That's not.
And people straight say that like it's okay. You be like, what?
Or my son don't eat vegetables. He don't like them. Well, what is he?
Who's the parent? Who's the child?
Send him to my house for the week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just think that with that specific piece that we were just talking about and these problems that we have, I feel like we always talk about wealth and we talk about safety. We can't get to any of those things. Health is like that first. You got to take the termites out the house before you paint it. We be putting the buggy before the horse. So I feel like, as we continue to do that and if we get better, I think that things will really start looking better for us as a community and specifically as as a people.
And we're so unhealthy. I tell them all the time, if the revolution happened tomorrow, because we've been times where we are giving free food away.
Yeah, I don't want to try it. It's vegan.
And what's in it? Well, the next time, I remember her saying one time to a young
The struggle,
boy,
right?
Yeah.
And what's so crazy about that, like, if you, it doesn't matter if you put a price on it, right? It's either too high, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm not paying for that. Then you put it's for free.
Right. And they
you think I want that? Be like,
I don't
what
need
the?
a handout.
Yeah.
Like what the?
Yeah.
So it's like it's never good enough.
Correct.
And
Correct.
like like why isn't it good enough?
Yeah.
Right? Is it because is it because it's coming from me?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it came from someone else, right?
Mhm.
Not of my same color, would you accept it?
Yeah.
Would you pay that price? Or would you eat it for free? You would do both, right?
Yeah.
But for me, you want to battle me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm for you.
Yeah.
But I guess it's more of a mental thing.
Yeah, it is.
Willie Lynch, he said it.
Yep.
He said it.
Bless his heart.
Yes. And then she said to one young man, she said, the next time you go to Mickey D's, you need to ask them what's in it. That's what's killing you.
They don't know.
That's what's really killing us.
Yes.
Hey.
You know what I tell them? If the revolution happened tomorrow, we are, and this is a broad brush, we are so unhealthy. Are we going to be able to pick up a gun? Are we going to be able to run with the gun? Am I going to be able to pick up my fallen comrade?
Listen, honey, I'm not picking you up. Thandisizwe, I love you, but I'm not picking you up.
You'll be picking me up.
Yeah, I will.
And that's the reality. If I see one more fried chicken, whatever, on Broadway, or the payload places.
That's what they say we want.
And
we
know
do.
what?
We do want it.
Yeah, because the one
And we
down
want
there.
it because it's here, right?
No, the one down here when it opened, there was a black woman on talking about, I couldn't hardly wait for the next fried chicken, and I'm gonna always be eating my fried chicken. And I saw it on the news with her saying that. I said, oh my gosh, but that's the level. And then we take these. I don't go to the nail shops anymore. They give us shoddy products. They talk about us in their language.
Asking us if we have a boyfriend.
So I don't, And
Here,
we,
not all nail
that's why I
shops.
said
but
broad
specific-
brush.
Yeah.
Because we had a black nail shop down here.
We did. When was
Marie Graham, and he's a minister now. Charles Graham. We didn't support him.
What year was
Charles
that?
actually went to school.
that? Of course, we didn't support him because he was black, right?
Who was
Correct.
this?
And we could never.
Correct.
We could never.
Yep, it was right down in the next block on the other side of the road.
Why
Yeah.
wasn't he supported? Because he was black.
Self-hatred. Willie Lynch. I can still deal with some of my babies fighting, especially the girls, too bad, fighting amongst themselves in terms of who's got the lightest skin, who's got the lightest eyes, who's got the straightest hair. Anywho. And I'm clear, at 73, I'm not going to see any change.
Well, that's not true. I mean, even appetite for change being here, and people
Well,
say,
yeah,
I
okay.
can go here and get a good meal,
Okay.
and they got this option, they got this. Okay, if you raw, you got something. I mean, they got something on the menu for everybody. 10 years ago, 15 years ago,
that's true.
you
That's
wouldn't have
true.
seen that. And even I've
That's
seen,
true.
the people at the tribe be like, oh, you want that appetite for change? That is
That's
progress.
True. That's true. That's
I mean,
very
we're
true.
not there yet, but no.
Well, I may see the illusion and
Yeah.
some changes.
Yeah.
And as you said before, the more things change, the more they say the
Jamar
same.
Clark, how they went to the 4th precinct.
Yeah.
People, I mean,
Yeah.
so things are,
Yeah.
it ain't happening fast enough. But, a little something.
Yeah.
He'll come with the next generation. You got a mic or something? 'Cause you,
Like, go ahead. I was gonna say,
can you hear?
no, I don't want to.
Yeah, we do.
We getting close to the end. If either of you have like a word of advice, phrase, or anything that y'all just wanna What do you
Yeah.
want to say?
Yeah. Let me speak to the elders.
Or him.
The elders, not that I'm this anomaly of sort, but the elders too often think, I've lived longer than you, so therefore I have all the answers. And I would like to encourage our elders to think of our young'uns equally. Because I learn all the time from these young people. I remember I used to always talk about Lil Wayne.
This lady told me I wasn't equally yoked. I'm like, what does that meant, right? I was in Detroit. It was an elder. You know, she was looking kind of mean or whatever. So I love my elders. I can sit and be up underneath them. And she was like, yeah, you know, she was basically talking about how the youth are disrespectful and they need to respect their elders because we're not equally yoked. And I'm like, what?
Like what?
What is
I
that?
don't even like eggs. Okay, stop playing.
So she was basically like, it's a separation. Like, you need to learn to respect.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Because I had all kinds of negative things to say about Lil Wayne. And one day, Thandisizwe said, Mother, would you just listen to the words with me? And after that,
Oh, you picked a good song, huh?
Okay,
I said, that boy is a genius. And needless to say, the next time Lil Wayne was in town, we went to the Lil Wayne concert. And that's what I do.
they were smoking and everything, and she was.
I mean, I kind of floated out of there. But that's what I would encourage us to do. And I would encourage us to stop being so hard on us, because they don't do that with white folks. And I would also encourage us, yeah, it may cost a little more because we don't have access, you know, to the resources, which is why even with Newmarket, I go there at least once or twice a month, even though it's way more expensive.
on the
North Market,
senior
North
discount,
Market.
right? North Market.
North Market.
Oh, North Market.
New
Okay.
Market was down there. I'm
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. North Market.
North Market.
You go on Tuesdays. That's when she get that senior discount. Okay.
Remember, I asked y'all about the senior discount. So some of my thoughts.
I would just say, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, just the healing process. I've been talking a lot about conflict resolution lately. Inevitably, you know, we all a little off. Even me, I'm a little crazy. You know, everybody's a little off. You know, it's just a human thing. Everybody is a little off, right?
I
Some of
admit
us,
it.
some of us more than others, right? And I think that within that, and then within this society of capitalism and individualism, you know, of ego tripping. You know, I know everybody talks about Kanye, but all falls down. The lyrics to that song, that message in that song is so real, right? And because of find your tribe. Everybody don't click. Everybody signs. If you went to astrology, so that hopefully those conflicts will be lessened. And then when they do arise, figure out a way to put your ego to the side, put that pride to the side, and come up with solutions, and actually facilitate the conflict resolution, because that's how they keep getting us, because none of us, we don't work together. We got something, and that's my best friend for a year, and then something happened, we fall off, you know, whatever, and we'll never, you know, win or whatever like that. We're too separated.
yeah, we
So
think
we
everybody's
gotta
our
figure that out.
competition. Our
And
competition.
for the elders, we seem to also expect of the young folks
Stuff that we ain't willing to
that
do.
we won't do. I mean, I know folks now that you looked at me cross-eyed 10 years ago, and I still don't speak to you. So what kind of role model is that?
Yeah.
So
They be beefing hard in the church too. the old
Man, we some spiritual
Right.
gangsters. I'm like, whoa. Like,
people. Go have Sunday dinner when they gonna tell you they don't like in that fourth row. You be like, you really don't like Mrs. Jones?
like what's the? Yeah.
and don't let it be about, I won't use my favorite word,
Please don't.
a boy or a man.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Us
yeah.
women. I'm not,
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was in the elementary schools, they were already talking about, well, little Johnny's gonna make a pretty baby. Excuse me? Anywho.
Okay, yeah. So, you were going to share some out with us.
Girl, I had forgot about you. Be like, I ain't your girl.
They are so funny.
I'm trying to think about something quick. It's like, okay, just make sure you tell DBL. you make sure you tell this person that I'm always honoring thy mother. While they killing, we ain't healing, so we getting higher ceilings because we got all of this trauma, and it's passed down from my mama, and it's passed down from my master, and Tubman running faster when you think you can escape it, but it's only getting better. Healing should be first. We not healing, grab a hearse, because we surely gonna die, cops. Why you gotta lie, cops? Why you gotta kill? Yes, I know this is a big pill, but this here is really real, man. Can you really feel me? If we can escape the past, we free at last. That's what we thought, but cop, he went and grabbed his gun and blast, put his knee up in his neck, baby screaming, what the heck? George Floyd was with us, now he isn't. Racist writing checks. They pull me over and my hands is on the dashboard. License and registration, man. Why you gotta ask for it? Why you even pull me over? Oops, let me remain calm. Cop rolls his eyes, red flag. My name could be a hashtag. If I die and y'all make mama cry, hope my city gonna ride, hope my pops will come outside. If I die and y'all let my mama cry, just make sure I'm casket fly. Hope the city gonna ride, man. Ride, man. City gonna ride, man. Justice ain't for us and it ain't changing because of Biden. Ride, man. City gonna ride, man. America was never great. These presidents be lying. Thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dang, and the sirens came in perfect.
Right, I'm like, use it. I'm like, use it.
Dang. Yeah, I appreciate y'all saying yes and coming here in the space with us. That was
But now
pretty
you
dope.
understand why I said that we needed to do it as a duo.
Yeah, she'd be like, it was me, but it's my daughter now, right?
Come on, I appreciate
Be like, oh, you're the mother, right? Oh, yeah, pretty dope, too.